I guess I'm streaming back. Dude, I guess it's happening. All right, Cry. You need to do one more thing, and then you are officially ready. You're officially ready. Let's bring it on down. Bring it on down, Cry. Bring it on down. Okay, cool. I think it's finally working. Do I understand what the technological problem was? No, I don't. I don't. That's on DM Hokey. I was thinking about DM Hokey, and we were talking about M from James Bond and how he's like it. But you think about all those gadgets that M had in James Bond. None of them were as amazing as an internet device that goes through the electrical circuitry of your walls, dude. M never had anything like that, dude. He didn't have the internet either. Yeah, Freddie, we had the Ding of Doom, so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but I'm trying it again. I want to get a taste of this game. Let's look at it. Now, nota bene, Duda is now playing basically the Carlsen system against Carlsen. Though Carlsen has taken more time. Knight b8. Let me just say knight b8, in general in these positions, the point which was hard for me to understand as a kid with the Breyer system where you also get knight b8 is c3 dominates the knight. So you're just getting out of there. Just getting out of there, boss. And the other thing that's curious, I want to call it, about this kind of position is that back in the day, people kind of had this belief, and I don't know how true it is, that the move b5 was like one of White's little niggles in the Ruy Lopez, just because you could always play a4. It's never really been proven to me that it's that big of a deal, though. So, for example, I think Carlsen's position would be totally playable if he did b5. But I'm wondering, just from his own sensibility of how to play the game, if he does that. I think also he could consider knight h5 or like knight e8. All of that seems possible to me. So this game might look boring, but we're definitely getting fireworks. There we go, b5, dude. Move so fast. Boom, b5. So I kind of answered my own question. I think he could have done a variety of things. But the question really is, like, the old school people really believed that b5 was a problem for black in the Ruy Lopez. Here, black doesn't have to do it. The bishop's already back on c2. But he does it anyway because people don't care anymore. They don't care. In particular, it just gives you some space over there. And if you had played b6, later you would lose the square b6 for your pieces, whether it's the queen or the knight or whoever might want to use it, right? Well, Paul, that's an interesting point. I think one of my questions there was precisely, this is why I love watching Magnus, because like that to me was a big decision, like in terms of style and understanding of the position. You can play it like the kid, but it's different from the kid because the center is still fluid, because white can always still play d4. The center's not closed. So it's a lot more, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's controversial. And in particular, since d4, d5 hasn't happened, it's not completely evident that the king side is black side of the board. Okay, here we go, bishop b7. And I have never played any of this for either side, but I feel like I've seen enough games to have a minor sense of what's going on in this position. It explores. Hello, buddy. Hello. Let's put my camera down just a touch, because I end up looking down at the screen. when I was doing 2700 quests, a lot of times people would just see the top of my head, you know. Yeah, I'm enjoying these games, man. This plan of B4, Fisher times, even pre-Fisher, where maybe later we can, like we said, with the nibble on B5, we're going for the nibble on B5, giving ourself the B3 square if we want. The questions for white are mostly like, what do I do with the knight on D2? Nota bene, when you play slow like this and Carlsen gets to play G6, Bishop G7, he's claiming now there's no problems anymore with, say, F5, the F5 square. What do you do with Bishop C1? And another fine question is, what does Carlsen do here? I think he could do a variety of things. Let's flip the board, my friends. Oh, cool, Freddie Pratzer. Well, DM Hokey, I'm playing the tournament in DC, buddy. I'll be there, so you better be there, man. That'll be your first tournament, boss. You better go, DM Hokey. No more messing around. No more you studying, you knowing about Chessable without you ever having, or not Chessable, Chessbase, without you ever playing in a tournament. Nick, thanks for following, buddy. We need some follows. We had my student, James Altucher was on yesterday. Dude, he gifted 100 subs, man. 100. How about that? Pretty amazing. Carlsen's thinking too long here, man. And here's the thing, okay? Here's a little, I don't know what it's about, but it's definitely a trend that I'm observing. Carlsen is getting himself in time pressure more than he used to, and just at this level in general, no one wants the time pressure he's getting. So far, he's been good enough that it hasn't mattered, like he hasn't been punished for getting in time pressure, but it's not a good thing. Here we got C5. The ambitious move. So potential weaknesses, but space. Activity. And I guess, when you contrast this with the normal Rui, Black's claims are really that the bishop on G7 in that structure is an improvement over the bishop on E7. And in particular, like if I'm white, I don't know what to do with my knight on D2. I just don't, and notice, more than one of white's pieces wants to use B3. That being said, I guess I'm expecting knight B3. But I also think this is a position where they have, they've seen this before and they've thought about it. You should go, DM Hokey. We'll hang out, man. We'll hang out. Though I gotta say, a lot of times I say I'm gonna hang out with people at these tournaments, and I'm just like so focused in on my own little journey that, and other people are too. So it becomes like, a lot of times, you say you're gonna hang out and then you don't hang out, and especially a tournament over there, like it's even hard that there's no good lunch place, you have to drive and yada yada. Anyways, we definitely see each other though, man. And I'm so old now, back in the day I would room with people, but now I'm so old I can't take it. I gotta have my own room. I gotta have my own room. I'm so old, man. Peeing in the middle of the night, all this stuff. I can't take it if somebody else is snoring. I can't, so I gotta be alone, man. So that really reduces on the social interaction as well. Oh, the Virginia closed. Cool. Virginia has it a little bit more together than Maryland. Like Virginia has a senior tournament. Virginia has a Virginia closed. And Maryland, which honestly has a similar chess population. Doesn't have any of that. We don't got nothing. I feel like Pennsylvania has a lot of those tournaments too that we don't have. I'm really enjoying this. I'm a little lost as to what both sides are supposed to do. I think they are too. Let's say something obvious though. Magnus is going to be thinking about that d5 move. Here it makes some sense too to play d5 at some point, which is one of the reasons you might want to play knight b3 just to dissuade Magnus from playing d5. Magnus, it's funny, I know, I just want to admit something. I know that I don't understand these positions that well. Like, I've looked at them with people like Josh Friedel, and they clearly understand them much better. So, yeah, it's interesting for me to try to guess what's going on, and I wouldn't have guessed BC. That wasn't really on my radar. But I guess the idea is that we're going to try to work against the B pawn. I don't know. We're going to... BC makes me funny, you know? Oh, man, Diamoki, will you quit your whining, dude? You just need to play a tournament. You just need to play a tournament, boss. It's too much, man. The whining, you just get it over with. Play a tournament, man. All right, Magnus is making things complicated here. Both of the moves, DC and knight c5, look good to me. I don't see any real problem with that. Yeah, they both look good to me. In principle, I guess I like knight c5 better. But I have a feeling that's mostly a stylistic thing. And it's good to know that he's thinking about it. Because that means it's also a decision for him. He was thinking long in positions yesterday. I was like, dude, what are you thinking about, man? What are you thinking about? That's right, Craw. Diamoki, you need to take it, buddy. Well, you're going to be ready. Thinking to be ready? The only way you're going to get ready is if you go into battle. That's the only way, man. Maybe Magnus is stunned by BC in the same way that I'm stunned. But these guys, they've worked out this stuff like so deep that it's not, I don't know. Like Magnus, dude, to try to take down Magnus in these e4, e5 positions, it's almost like, forget about it, man. Forget about it. There it is, knight c5. Okay, me and Magnus, buddy. I don't think he was thinking about rook c8. I think one reason to think about knight takes c5, though I would have done it just immediately, is what is white gonna do, you know? Floppy pawn, dude! I was just thinking about floppy pawn, man. Me and floppy pawn go back to the last millennium, my friends. To the last millennium. Yep. All right, what was my little thought I was on? If you're gonna think about knight c5, it's like, bro, why did you play BC? And what is your intention? Because one of the things about BC is you got to think about both DC and knight c5. They both seem to make sense. And the only possible worries you could have, as far as I could tell, is like maybe your isolated B pawn. You know, you could kind of worry about it. You could kind of worry about d4. That doesn't seem to happen. All right, here we go. AB, bishop a3. And okay, here's an idea. So the drawback of BC is that your C3 pawn is a loser. And so with bishop A3, you can claim that you're active and that if you need to, you can put the bishop on B4. So, okay, there we go. Of course, I still think Magnus is totally fine. Totally fine in this position. And we're going to say Queen C7 is the natural move. Queen C7 would allow us to play Knight A4 if we needed to. Yeah. Totally fine. Now, the smart money, I think, would be to say that this game is going to be a draw. I think that's the smart money, man. But who knows, man? Who knows? The dude, I'm just going to go ahead and say I've never believed in the dude, you know, that he would ever make it to be on a super high level. Okay, here we go. Rook E8. And again, Magnus has, like, ultra experience in these positions. And he can play Rook E8 without even being concerned about it. What is the point of Rook E8? Besides just being a little bit of a central move. I liked Queen C7 so that I always had the ideas of like Knight A4 at some point. But maybe Rook E8 is just a little bit more centralizing. So, I'm assuming. Well, now, see, here's, it gets a little weird. If you play bishop c6, you might have to worry a little bit about d4. Queen b1 played instantly. Dude is staying up on the clock, which is nice. Thanks, Fluffy Fawn. Yeah, I'm enjoying it too, man. I'm enjoying just hanging out and talking some smack. And it's definitely good for my chest just to watch Magnus and try to think about what's going on in his head. Yesterday was definitely interesting. And Rook E8, it wouldn't have been my top move. I might feel a little bit uncomfortable here as black because I don't really want to play bishop c6. And I guess Magnus is tanking, man. Magnus, you got to move faster, buddy. So, on bishop c6, do you have to worry about d4? And now part of the, let's say the obvious. Rook e8 gets out of the bishop a3, f8 pin, right? And that's kind of significant when you think about the d4 break. So if I imagine, for example, bishop c6, d4, knight a4, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but that looks like a mild advantage for white. There's problems there, man. There's problems. Like, for example, bishop c6, d4, knight a4, bishop takes, and whether you take with the pawn or the rook, then d5, and where does the bishop on c6 go? You got the b7, b5 problem, and the d6 problem. You can't play bishop b7. Oh, Rosenberg, thank you very much, buddy. Thank you very much. Yeah, Chess Punks, dude. We're going to be doing the Chess Punks Award. Awards, plural. So does that mean Magnus plays like queen d7? Oh, he's tanking too long, man. He is tanking too long. You know, one thing about my own play, arguably deficiency, there's bishop c6. Okay, so I want to just do a variation, and then I'll talk about my deficiencies. What's going to happen on d4? Let me just show the problem first. If you go knight a4, bishop takes, And let's just say pawn takes d5. Where does the bishop go without losing something? Can't go here, can't go here, can't go here because of d6. And similarly, on rook a4, there's going to be a similar problem, right? So on d4, we need something a little bit more special. Knight d7 loses the pawn. I haven't even bothered to count how many pieces are controlling e4. I'm assuming white's got enough, though. He's got a lot, man. Yeah, he's got enough. Is Magnus intending some kind of dirty trick on the long diagonal? It's a little hard to believe, my friends. Like, snip, snop. No, I don't like any of this, dude. Because on knight d7, DC might work, but you don't even have to do it. You're not even committed. Yeah. All right, my friends. I'm going to try to figure this out. Magnus has some kind of idea against d4. And maybe it's obvious, and I'm just not seeing it, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe, oh, and he did, oh, okay, right. So we're waiting for Duda to play. So how about this? Knight a4. By the way, maybe d5 immediately is playable too, right? Because I don't think you can play this. I move the queen b3 or b4, and you're hanging a piece, boss. You're hanging a piece. Unless there's some kind of magic with knight takes. But Daddy doesn't really approve of those kinds of messages, man. That's too much. Maybe this is the kind of thing they're looking at, man. I don't know. This is too much for my little pea brain, dude. I Chihuahua? I Chihuahua. I don't know. It's not even over yet. There's like rook a6. I don't know. Okay, so look, that was really intense. What's wrong with d4? What is wrong with d4? One of the cool things about being Magnus is, like, my mind would stop here if I was black and I saw this on the horizon. I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't like it. But Magnus doesn't care. Maybe something like here. Again, he doesn't have to take it, boss. He doesn't have to take it. Okay, but let's just go d5. Let's say we do this, and now we're gonna say if you're gonna take it, you bishop d6. We're just gonna pretend that bishop d6, knight takes c3 is fine for black. I don't even know if it is, but we're just gonna pretend for a second. So bishop a4, pawn takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. Seems like white's better, man. I feel like I'm missing something obvious. Yes, it's early in the morning for something, but I need some help, man. What is Magnus going to do after d4? Anybody, help me. I'm running out. Okay, what happened? d4 did happen. Magnus snipped. And now he's got some idea. b4. welcome. See, dude, this is a great example. This didn't cross my mind at all. But in height now, and now once you see it, it's like obvious. It's like, oh yeah, I get it. If the queen takes, some kind of knight takes e4 is going to happen. Yeah, and Magnus has got that worked out. If bishop takes, I play rook a1, queen a1, and again knight e4. Now maybe white can get some kind of niggling advantage in the midst of all that. But this is what separates a chump GM like me from Magnus. And what was cool about rook e8, man, is like, no, he played that confidently. It wasn't prep either because he he thought about it. All right, bishop b2. Okay, now one of the things I said was I still kind of am worried about Magnus, even if there's no tactics because of the central control, right? So the only move that doesn't result in a, well, no, there's some drama here too. But let me just say, knight a4, I guess, is the move where is the fighting move. And there's all kinds of other moves which lead just to a worse position. There might be some nasty tactic happening to you here, though, boss. We got to be a little careful. For example, maybe there's a simple, well, so d5, knight b2. Let's just pretend that's good for black. Is it true? I'm not even sure that's true. d5, knight b2. DC. And where does Mr. Knight go? Well, we're going to take here. Take here. And then this Mr. Knight needs to do something special. Here? I don't know, man. But this is, there's just a variety of reasons why this is making me nervous. Queen a6 being just one of them. Oh, dude, I don't know. Like, did I miss this b4 trick? I did, but I don't know if it's that good. All right, here we go. b3. Welcome to Magnus's world. Very simple chess. We'll take away stuff from the e4 pawn, and he's going to say, I'm going to win the e4 pawn, then we'll make a draw, and then Jesse doesn't get to do any more commentary. How about that? How about that, my friends? No more commentary for Cry. We'll just make a draw. I got a question for chat. Does anybody know when the next game is going to take place? I assume it's today, but I don't know. Maybe it's right away. I don't know. I feel a little weak, dude. I missed b4, and then I somehow missed b3 too. It's so once you see it, it's like, oh, that's thematic. That's thematic. We're just gonna break it all down. All right, let's see if Magnus. Let's see if he's worse after DC. Pawn takes. Queen takes. Pawn takes. It's a little worrying. Queen takes. Knight takes. Oh my gosh. Queen takes. This is frightening to me. Knight takes fails kind of amazingly to rook a8. Yeah, look at that. Rook A8. I don't know if I've ever seen a tactic like that where you're getting hosed in the back rank. Okay, this all happened, my friends. This all happened. Does Duda have a little bit of something something? Does Duda have a little something something? Okay, Chess Games, that's a good guess. I think something happened like that before. And my superficial guess is that Queen C5 is the only move that gives Black any pause. So the problem with Rook takes, I'm assuming, is Bishop takes. And if, say, well, there's no, yeah, Bishop E4, Bishop F6. If Knight E4, we got Queen C6. And I think that's the end of the world. I can tell you, that's the end of the world. So is Magnus worse after Queen C5? Now, he could... Can we look at this again, buddy? Okay, so Knight E4, Queen C6. Doesn't look good for us. And this tactic is like, I've never seen it before. Look at this. Bang! Bang! Like, Knight F3, GF3, and that's it. Crispy critters, man. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Like the A8, Rook A8 thing. Dudus Monk, good morning, buddy. Is Magnus in a little grief after Queen takes C5? Dudus thinking about it. Now, I've missed several resources for Magnus already, so it's not inconceivable. It's arguably probable that I'm missing something after Queen C5 as well. Maybe the simple move is just Rook C8. Something like that. And I still got questions though here. I'm not sure about this. Like Queen D4 maybe? That's still very, very drawn after this, right? Boom, boom, boom. So Rook C8 might be our thought here after Queen C5. Magnus probably has something more elegant, but at least Rook C8 looks like we're getting enough. All right, what happened? Knight E5. Oh, man. All right, the tactics have begun, my friends. That's a frisky move. It's frisky and risky. It's frisky and risky. Sometimes I think when I'm watching this game, you know, these GM games in positions like this, I'm like, they think they already know it's a draw. And honestly, I've been in a lot of the situations myself where like you just have the intuitive sense that it's all going to peter out. Sometimes though, you then look at the computer and the computer's like, no, we're not petering anything out, buddy. We're not doing any petering. There's no peter patter here. Knight e5 is potentially a good move, man. So, for example, let's look at the natural move, bishop b7. After this, you'd have to worry about queen c5 and queen c4. Queen c4, maybe we just hack on d2, you know? That's probably the case. But on queen c5, are we just down a pawn? Like, one thing I was thinking for him would be, maybe we can do knight d7. And if takes, bishop b2, and we should be fine. Maybe here, though? Man, oh man, this is a mess. This is a mess. All right, so here we go, knight e5, potentially good move. Definitely the kind of move that even Magnus could overlook or underestimate. If you do something like queen b6, you got to worry about knight c4 and or queen c4. Queen b6 is definitely like the concession move. Chess Gains is asking about rook a1. Fair enough. What about... Okay, let's look at what Chess Gains is saying. He might be onto something here. So bishop a1. Do we do bishop e4 now? Is that what you're saying, Chess Gains? Let me just stare at it a second. It's a little hard for me to comprende. Didn't work out. But let's look rook a1. Oh, I see. Okay. Rook a1 now might be the thing to do in any case. Just to claim that the bishop is funky on a1, and then maybe play queen a8. We still got to worry about things like queen c4. But let's just pretend that we could deal with those with, say, rook e7. I still think white's the one with a little, definitely more juice. Like, actually, look at that, queen c4, rook e7, and then queen c5's got to be a good move with a tap on the rook, little tap on the shoulder, tap, tap. We've got queen a5 is a question, but here well, at least right now we can't do it because our bishop's hanging. The Bishovsky's gone. Bishop a4 played by Magnus. All right. Again, let's say the obvious, my friends. I didn't see bishop a4. I could pretend to you all day long that I saw bishop a4, but I did not. Okay, obvious point. Rook takes, queen d2, and the man is going to claim he's, well, he would be maybe winning in that position because the pieces are all hanging off. But the bishop a4 is certainly a funky piece. But he's claiming that queen c4, queen d2 is very unpleasant for white, and I think it is because then the bishop's hanging, the rook's hanging. Bishop a4, definitely a move Duda could have overlooked. I would have overlooked it. I obviously did. I was looking at all kinds of moves. I didn't see bishop a4. I think, too, it's a little bit of an example of not even just being better, but having experience in this opening and like looking at it with the computer, because the computer will find all these moves like b4, b3 like we saw, and then bishop a4. And then, you know, he studied these things for decades now. So he's got a good sense of the dynamics. Now, bishop a4 might equalize the game immediately. We're about to find out. Hal Gilda, good to see you, buddy. We're just hanging out, watching Magnus a little bit. it is definitely, well, it's not ever really a 5-minute game because of the 30-second increment, but we're certainly getting there. All right, rook takes happened. And, well, if you don't play queen takes, then you're down the exchange. So now we're going to guess queen d2. And then queen a1 happens. Okay. Okay. Now, I got questions. You guys might have questions too. First thing we're going to say is knight c4 feels a little bit like a threat, but it's not clear it really is. Like the queen could go back to g5. Or even play queen b4 to hit the knight. And this is the kind of situation where Magnus might hurt you. Things are a little loose. They're a little loose in Gooseville over there. And now Magnus has got the time advantage. I mean, just looking at it, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. But there's scary things. Is there scary things? I definitely don't think, actually, I really don't think black has any troubles anymore. Something like just knight h5, for example. Why would we be worse after knight h5? Well, Paulie, definitely, I think, let me just say this, I think with knight e5, I'm going to guess, Duda said to himself, I feel like maybe I got a little something, something. And after bishop a4, when he takes it, he's saying, I'm just going to try to guide this thing to a draw, you know? Yes, it's nice that the knight can go to c4, but like, it's not like we're pressing big in any way, I don't think, you know? I don't think there's any big press anymore for white. And I'm going to guess knight h5 would be the move to just fix our problems, as like just guide the game to a draw. That would be your cheap GM move. Oh, knight h5 was played. Magnus played the cheap GM move. The cheap GM move. And yeah, I think he's fine. I think both sides are fine. But this is where blunders, the position is still imbalanced enough that blunders could happen, and or Magnus could run his c-pawn. The move I really don't believe in, but I'm sure Duda is trying to calculate, is g4 intending. No, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's too dumb. It's too dumb. We're not going to even talk about it. All right, what happens here? Bishop c3. Okay. That's the move which is saying, boss, I just want to try to make a draw out of this business. So if queen g5, knight f3, and queen, we're going to say queen c2 is the fighting move. Queen c2, we might have a little something something on queen c2. At this point, it's only Magnus, I think, who can be better because of the pass c-pawn. But really, it should be a draw. For example, queen c2, queen a7, I believe is possible. No. Yeah, I believe that's possible. It's a little scary, but I think that's possible. Well, Paul, you should definitely be worried about the c-pawn. There's no doubt. But probably more importantly, none of White's pieces are officially bad. And the knight on h5 officially needs a hop into f4 before it can start talking some smack. All right, Magnus is thinking about queen c2. I called it. I've called some moves here. I missed a bunch, but I've called some moves. And My question was, does queen a7 solve your problems? I'm not sure it does. I think it's very scary, actually. For example, queen a7. Oh, queen a7 happened. Look at that. And let me just say, queen a7, it was the only move to not become worse, because if black achieves knight f4, then that's already a little something something. And Magnus immediately plays queen b3. And now that the time pressure is happening, it's a big deal that he plays it immediately. Yeah. What's the problem? The knight is pinned. Oh, Magnus is maybe working him, dude. That pin's a little annoying. And if you play a move like queen d7, you gotta at least worry about the rook a8s or even rook f8s of the world. Yeah. Maybe even the queen e6s of the world. Actually, the queen e6s of the world. There's nothing wrong with the queen e6s of the world, my friends. Black's the one giving the business. And nota bene, it's a big deal that you control this square, because now we are threatening bishop takes here. All right, here it comes. Queen c5, knight f4. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Welcome to my world, baby. Welcome to my world. Now, again, I don't know exactly what's happening. I just know that this would be terrifying. Terrifying. Because you're pinned, man. You are pinned, and the knight has begun its hops. And imagine you consolidate the position. You just have an extra pawn. It's not enough. It's not enough, buddy. This is going to be... Well, Shank, what's your rating now, buddy? I would just say whatever you are. If you're just starting, start with a modest goal first. Start with a modest goal first. All right, big time advantage, and white needs a move here to consolidate the position to not blow his junk. It's very difficult. It is very difficult. The knight is evil, and definitely a position to fall apart in. Oh, man. I don't know, man. Queen c7. Oh, it's a nasty move. I don't want to do it. And we're threatening, by the way. No, we're not. We're not threatening knight e2. That's a good omen for black, for white. Knight e2, rook e2, queen d1, rook e1. So that's a good omen for the guy. But, for example, we are threatening bishop e5, knight d3. That's definitely what they call a family fork. Oh, he's in big trouble, man. Ooh. Oh, buddy. Oh, yeah. Welcome to it, dude. Welcome to it. Dang, Magnus. Dang. Dang, man. We're only on move 29 and the game's over. It might not be over, my friends. For me, if you were playing me, if he was playing me, it'd be over. And this move, that's not convincing. That's not convincing. All right. Magnus gets some time. All right, rook e3. Let's honor it, as they say. Let's honor it. One problem is conceivably bishop takes knight d3. Oh, man, and let's just say, man, those pieces are loose. Loose as a goose. Even queen e6, man, it's not so pleasant to know what to do with that knight. But let's just say we're going to pretend that he's going to survive after queen e6. So bishop e5, knight d3. I don't know. Actually, I'm not finding it immediately right now. What's going to happen after bishop e5, knight d3? The other really obvious thing we got to say is queen d1, rook e1. If we're allowed knight e2, then I think that's it. And so Magnus is also looking like he could repeat. He could be like queen d1, rook e1, queen b3. That's what that's what the old school people would do, just to tell him he's never winning the game. I like bishop e5, knight d3. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. It looks evil to me. It really looks evil. Wait a second. Bishop e5, knight d3, queen c6. And maybe it's not so pleasant. I cannot move my rook. What are you talking about, boss? You just play rook takes e5. It's not, you don't need to be wait, so rook e5? Yeah, rook e5. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for playing. Okay, queen d1 was played. So at the very least, he can repeat. Does he have a different idea besides repeating? We're about to find out. Queen c2 might also be a very simple move to play. But then queen c2, you lose your grip on f7. Oh, queen c2 might be evil as well. Magnus is evil, man. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. No, Dudas Monk. They didn't cover this pawn structure. So he can repeat. Oh, he moved. Okay, good. So he repeated once, and that's both to gain time and to show dude that we're in control. Maybe he'll just take the draw. If he finds nothing, maybe he'll just take the draw and move on to the next game. And Chess Gain says that if we get a next game, it'll be in about 15 minutes. Oh, he's repeating. Yeah, they're about to shake hands. Basically, Magnus has to play queen c2 now, or else queen b3 is a draw. It looks like queen b3 happened. And then I think I'm going to guess that's 3 moves. I'm not good with math, but that looks about 3 moves to me. Looks like 3 moves to me. I'm watching the cams here. Yeah, they agreed to draw. Okay, my friends. Chess Gains, if you are there, that was a great game. That was a great game. I'm almost tempted to turn on the computer at the end, man. See what it says. See what it says if there was a little something there from Magnus. Can we do it? How do you do it, man? I don't even like to do it, but how do you do it? See, it says analysis. I hate this. Okay, wait. Show lines. Show lines. Oh, it doesn't work, of course, for me. Feedback? I don't know. It's calculating. I think Chess Gains basically said it was 15 minutes, in which case I might take a quick break, make myself another coffee, and then go again. I'm not getting the computer to work, though, so I can't even figure out, like, It's like calculating the whole freaking game, dude. I just want one position. Boss. Very annoying, chest stuck up. Every time I try to work with an engine, it's annoying recently. All right. Guys, I'm going to make a coffee. We'll be right back for round 2. Maybe I'll just type that in here. Be right back for round 2. There it is. Yeah, it looks like they're setting up. People talking about Sessa. Let's check in Sessa. Sessa seems like you only get him when he's live, but let's see here. Yeah, it was basically saying white was a little bit better, and then it was all equal. Still, I wanted some. Wait a second. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's do a little housekeeping for myself. Bam. Oh my God. I don't like learning new things, my friends. That was a great game, man. Even the game's Magnus draws are great. He was close to working it. Most people would have failed too there, man. Most people would have just gotten hurt. Hurt. All right, hurt. Oh, I got so much to do, my friends. So much to do. You know what else? Oh, I got to do these. Oh, here we go. Is it playing? Are we on? Not yet, but there it is. Turn off. Oh, gosh, now I have to turn off all of this garbage. It's like analyzing E4, E5. Oh, man, stop it. Stop it. Oh, gosh. How do I... Now I got to go weird settings, and I'm going to lose my life over this. Oh, can someone tell me? Oh, it's so annoying, dude. I turned on the lines to get some analysis for that last position. And now, okay, here we go. Feedback, no. Analysis again, please. Now, show lines, no. Thank you very much. All right, I figured it out. Thank you. I had some family news that might screw me up, man. My kids were out hanging out with their uncle, but their uncle tested positive. So I don't know. Man. Could be quarantine situation, which a quarantine I might not even be a part of, because I wasn't exposed to the uncle. So I don't know, man. Okay, so let's turn this off. What's this? Yeah. All right, my friends. So let me tell you guys about something. Here at the dojo, I've been doing game review forever. And we switched it up, so I'm not doing like a full-on show at the end of every month. But instead, people who wanted to get their games reviewed by any of us could submit a game through the Patreon page, and then we're gonna like create a video on it. Now, this might be insane because, why is this gonna be insane? Because there's might be too many. Anyways, I'm looking at one that Kostya did. Whoa, slow it down. Slow it down, Grammarly. Can you guys see this action, Jackson? Yeah. This is this is one where Kostya reviewed some game, and I'm just looking at this while we're waiting because I'm doing work. I'm doing work while this is happening. I got to, all right, there we go. Jesus, take it easy. Skip ads. Killing me. All right, so here's our little dojo thing.
Hey, what's up guys? Kosi here, back for another Patreon game analysis video. This next game and our first batch comes from Nico here playing black. I think this is a Lichess classical game. And Nico and his opponent both rated a little bit over 2100 here. And this is actually a really interesting game, and a couple of points could be really instructive for those of you that play the Hedgehog or play the Nimzo Indian / sometimes go into Hedgehog type of position, specifically where black goes for the Nimzo and then plays for this key move c5. This is of course not the only way to play the Nimzo. There are many different ways of playing the Queen c2 Nimzo. Black can castle and play with d5. But c5 has long been considered a pretty solid option. That can actually lead to, I would say, very, very complicated and difficult positions. So here white plays d takes c5. This is actually the typical reaction for white to actually take this pawn, because the queen is no longer on the d file, so white doesn't really have a bunch of support. And if white were to play something tame like e3, number one, black could play d5 here. Black could also take once and play d5 in the future, and leave white with an isolated queen pawn. As he takes d5, black will respond knight takes d5, just recapturing with the piece and kind of leaving white with a weak pawn in the future. So definitely not everyone wants that from white's point of view. And so queen c2 players normally take on c5. And and actually play for the structure where white is going to be trying to use the open d file and getting a little bit of a space advantage and putting some pressure against black's position. So here black castles, white goes knight f3, and now bishop takes c5. And so Nico here writes in his notes that he did know that knight a6 is the main move, but he couldn't really understand why. So he played a move that he understands. And let me just say, like, I think it actually is an interesting case. I do fully support, number one, just playing moves you understand, even if you know that the book move is such and such here, it happens to be knight a6. If it doesn't really make sense to you over the board, I don't think you're really going to enjoy the game and kind of come up with a lot of good ideas. So I would suggest in general, yeah, just kind of follow what your gut instincts tell you when it comes to how to develop your pieces and create your counterplay in the middle game. And then after the game, try to understand.
Jim Tranquilizer, thank you for rating us, buddy. I didn't even appreciate it at first. I'm sorry about it, buddy. I'm sorry. I look for you on the side, though, all the time. I'm always ready to raid you. So thank you very much. We're watching Kostya do a little lesson because I'm going to have to put some of these together myself. As I said before, we're doing some, you talk too much. We're doing some game analysis, and people can submit games on the Patreon page. And yeah, I'm getting a sense of how Kostya does it, and then we're going to switch over to Magnus once that starts. If someone could tell me when it starts, give me a heads up, that'd be good.
And okay, why is knight a6 the right move here? So knight a6 here is simply focusing on the development here for black. After bishop takes c5, black is going to have to spend a couple extra tempi completing the development. With knight a6, black just wants to recapture on c5 with the knight and get the knight very actively placed in the center. And the point here is that on a3, black is going to go ahead and just give up the bishop on c3. It's true we don't exactly double white's pawns, but white had to spend a couple tempi recapturing this one with their queen. And now after knight takes c5, it's considered that black has full compensation for the two bishops because black gets a ton of lead in development here. You can play d5, you can play b6 and get the bishop quickly to b7. Rook comes to c8 and black gets this counterplay on the c file. The knights also have this e4 square, which can be pretty annoying. And basically white is just behind in development, and that's what sort of compensates black for having given up the bishop pair. So this is kind of the idea behind this line. Actually, I think nowadays white doesn't even bother with a3. They just prefer to get their own development going, and after g3 takes and bishop g2, definitely some interesting lines here with knight e4 followed by b6, bishop b7, and so on that you can definitely check out. So these positions are, of course, very theoretical, very playable for black. In the game, Nico goes for bishop takes c5, bishop g5, and just bishop e7. This move looks a little passive at first, but actually for setting up the hedgehog, it makes a lot of sense. If we're going to play d6 and b6 in this position as black, we actually don't want our bishop stranded on c5 as number one, then white's pin will be extremely annoying. There's like knight e4 ideas here, but secondly, the bishop is just going to get kicked with a3 and b4, and that's just going to be a big problem. So bishop e7, definitely a very correct move for black to start setting up the structure. But then I think Nico makes a really instructive mistake here after e3. He plays knight to c6. Now, at first glance, knight c6, what are we talking about? Looks like perfectly normal move, most natural move in the position, some would say. But when you're playing the hedgehog, as black eventually ends up setting up, he goes a6 here and puts all the pawns on the 6th rank. So this is kind of the hedgehog structure. You put all your pawns on the 6th rank, you cover all the squares on the 5th rank.
All right, everybody, let's check it out. We're back. We're back. Let's cruise through this and see how it started. Magnus chooses, I think, a weenie variation, which is fine. Just because you start off with some weenie doesn't mean it'll stay weenie. And this position, highly theoretical. I think people just say this is kind of equal, but again, Magnus doesn't care, dude. He doesn't care. He'll take an equal position any day. And he's kind of, I think one of the cool things about his team is his team knows, like, they know what kind of position to look for Magnus. You know, they want one where his opponent might feel a little uncomfortable. It can be equal. Whether the computer says you have an edge or not is less important. And let's say some obvious stuff. We got ourselves a French structure, and there's no reason for black to feel sad. There's no reason for black to feel sad. But, you know, game's going to go on. And generally, well, let's say why black shouldn't feel sad. It's a French position where we got rid of our bad bishop. And because there's less minors on the board, you don't have to worry as much about the space disadvantage. Now, bishop b4, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. Definitely prefer bishop e7. And there's a number of these positions with just knights, sometimes two knights against two knights, where the space advantage can be felt even though a bunch of minors have left the board. I need to make a Jadoub here. Hold on. Let me make a Jadoub. Jadoub. Sorry about that, my friends. I'm watching Kostya's beautiful video and his beautiful hair. I have to reconstruct my windows. Doesn't Kostya have great hair? Everybody thinks Kostya. Everybody knows Kostya. If you don't think Kostya has great hair, you're just fooling yourself. You're just jealous that you don't have that hair yourself, you know? I bet his girlfriend tells him stuff like, Kostya, I'm with you, buddy, because of your personality. No, Kostya, that's not true, buddy. She's with you because of your hair. We all know it, man. Those are just the lies they tell you about your personality. You have a great personality, buddy, but she's not with you because of your personality. I hate to tell it to you. You know? I just hate to tell it to you, buddy. All right. Duda's D is a little bit cut, but he's the dude, you know, so he can take it. All right, here we go. I enjoyed the last game. I enjoyed this one. I would say after bishop b4, Magnus, it's not like he's better or anything, but that's a Magnus position. A simple way to play, for example, would be like take the bishop because the knight doesn't have any business on b4, and then look to play h4. You could also look to play h4 immediately. So I'm looking for some kind of idea with h4. That's what I'm looking for. There might be some way to achieve knight g5 as well. Like bishop takes bishop, knight takes knight g5. But h4, man, that's solid. You could obviously put like a rook c1. One of the weird things about the rook c1 is eventually you might not want to be trading the thing. And when the knight is on c6, the rook c1 doesn't do all that much. So Harry the h-pawn. Harry, we're calling for you, buddy. Let's go. Let's go, Harry. That's, you know, it'll be a very rich game. It'll be a very rich game coming up here. And we got to say also, let's just say the obvious, white is up 2 tempi, right? Because it's our move and he still owes us the castling. If it's not hair, it's Harry. That's right. Can you get a move layout in the window by any chance? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Where would I put it, man? DM Hokey, look at what DM Hokey's done. DM Hokey has taken up all my real estate, dude. All my real estate. So I don't know where to put it. Party Bird, thank you for following, as well as Crit. Bishop f4. Okay. Now, one thing about bishop f4 is, I think what this is going to do is it's going to end up transposing to bishop e7, essentially. Because black now, I think, has to do something like bishop e7. At least that would make sense to me. And what's the good about bishop f4 is you are not exchanging, and when you're playing for space, you don't necessarily want to exchange. The bad is that, hey, you had a chance to take his good bishop. Now, maybe Magnus is saying to himself, hey, well, if bishop e7, which is, to my mind, the natural move, we got knight g5, and we're going to claim that that's an advantage. I don't know if that's in fact an advantage, okay? But that could be a claim. All right. Like the last game, Magnus starts a little lower on time, and we're going to see now if knight g5 was the intention. Definitely not the only move Magnus could play. But if you're going to play bishop f4, it's kind of like the move that makes sense to play. You could play harry the h-pawn. You could definitely play h4. But then, you know, let's say rook ac8 after h4. You are going to have to eventually worry about knight b4 and the penetration to c2. So a3, okay. I definitely thought about this move, definitely thematic. And if knight a5, then we have to be intending b3. And it's really hard for white to play for space now without the square, or without the pieces on the board to dominate, right? Yeah, you don't want to. Those guys, man, when they talk about a million moves a minute, I mean, it's honestly when I listen to Anand, it's like Larry Christensen too. I can't listen, man. It's too intense. It's too intense. Why a3? Well, to couple things. To take away squares from black, and we're playing for space, even though we only have 2 minors on the board. So now b4 would be the thematic move by Magnus. And one of the issues with a move like b4 is when you advance like that, if you don't retain the space advantage, then you are eventually going to have problems. If he like opens the position in any way, squares like c4 will become a problem. Let's say the obvious. Black is attacking on the queen side. Black is attacking on the king side. So b4 is controversial in the sense that it's creating weaknesses on the queen side for black to eventually aim at. But the reason it's not a bad move is it's kind of a known way to slow down black's initiative on the queen side. So for example, you're stopping knight a5, and if a5, you're going to claim that b5 controls black's pieces. Is it true? I'm not sure. g3, that's a Magnus move. That's a Magnus move. Actually, I might end up learning something from this game. g3, I've seen this before, and it's dark, man. It is a dark move. I don't have the nuts to play a move like g3. I'm just going to put that out there. Wow. It's the kind of move I wouldn't be surprised if the computer doesn't like, you know. But the intention, the darkness of it, is sometimes you play g3 because you need to control h4, okay? But here, you're going to make, it's like this weird thing, man. You're going to build with moves like king g2 at some point. All right, there's knight a5, totally predictable. And I'm thinking b3 for Mr. Magnus. I would rather be black. I want to be totally clear about that. I mean, I am the French loser. Everybody knows it. I'm not afraid to announce it. I am the French loser. And one reason I like it for black is much more simple. Like white is trying to pull off a high wire act over there on the king side, and black is very simple. Like, dude, let's just triple our heavies on the c file and go to town. So if he doesn't play b3, then black is totally fine with knight c4. Okay, so b3 happens. Well done, Arcus. I'm with you. I have seen super GMs do this g3 thing, man, and it is really dark. One of the other things it does is it takes away a lot of the juice of the knight g5 plan, because then the queen can't slide to, say, g3, which would be your only intention. Okay, very simple question here for black. How do you keep the party going, right? And I'm assuming white's going to play bishop d2 at some point to talk to the knight and control the c3 square. This should all be fine, though. There's no reason why this should be a problem for black. And if I was just playing blitz, then it'd be rook c6. Rook c6 would be the move I'd do. Right. Now, what Nick and Mania might be asking is, what about b4 and move 15? And I think that's what most GMs would have played. But like I said, there was drawbacks to that plan. We need what white is trying to say is, I'm just slowing your counterplay on the queen side, whether it's with a3 b3 or a3 b4. I have to slow it down, and then I can slowly work my magic over on the king side. Sometimes, I'm sure a lot of people imagine this, like, imagine taking lessons from Magnus, right? And I think for the most part, it probably wouldn't be helpful. Someone could say said they came from the Vichy stream and he's going like 1,000 moves a minute. That kind of thing wouldn't be helpful for me at all. It might be impressive, but I wouldn't get anything out of it. If you could get Magnus to talk in words about why g3, why he thought g3 was a good move, that would be really interesting. And because I know that I've seen moves like that before, and I know that king g2 later can be a thing, but it's so abstract, you know, so abstract to me. Oh, you'd get so annoyed so fast, dude. Now, one problem for black, let's just say, is h4 is kind of hanging over your head, right? Why Magnus didn't play it earlier, I don't know. Like, if I was going to do this plan, it would be either knight g5 or h4 or, of course, b4. But in any case, black will feel intuitively like, hey, I need to do something on the queen side before the engine starts rolling on the king side. And the engine is there. There's no mistaking. The engine will keep coming. So if you give white enough time, he's going to engine you over there. So black needs to come up with something. I just had one of the weird things about g3 for me, I just got to get this off my chest, is that let's say your plan is h4, h5. Well, in that case, first of all, g3 didn't hurt or anything, but if he plays h6, aren't you going to want to do like the g4, g5 thing in that case? These are the questions that burn me. Yeah, rook c6 is the intuitive move, and he is analyzing. But we gotta say, like, if you imagine the bishop going back to d2, then the rook the danger is the rooks might look pretty on the c file, But you got to ask yourself, well, what am I actually doing? It's an easy enough plan, though. You play rook c6, rook fc8, b6, queen c7, and he is going to have to worry about junk. You know, he will have to worry about it. Yeah. Dr. Jamie, well, I assume h4 is going to happen. I don't know what else he's going to do, you know? I don't know what else he's going to do. G3 is dark, dude. It's one of those moves like Magnus makes, and I'm like, I gotta think deeply about that. Let's do a variation. Rook c6, bishop d2, b6, h4, rook fc8. Queen c6 was played, by the way. But maybe you're just to show this, maybe king g2. And one of the amazing things, of course, and maybe this is, you kind of see the long range pattern, is on knight g5, if bishop g5, hg5, then we got rook h1. And it's a thing. All right, so here we go. The game went queen c6, bishop d2, queen b6, and now rook fb1. And Magnus now has a little time advantage. And okay. Magnus might be a little better here, my friends. He might be a touch better. There's a variety of plans for black, though. One cool thing I'm realizing is if you go back to c6, like knight c6, then b4 is even stronger than it was before, and we'll shut the knight out, and we'll even intend maybe a4, a5 at some point. Rook fb1 is a nice move. And I just want to put this in words. What's going on, it might look like white's playing on the queen side, but white is simply preventing black from doing anything over there. And we're going to play things like king g2, h4. And we're just going to make him think about knight g5, you know? Make him pee in his pants about knight g5. And if you play h6, then g4, g5 is going to come. This is where g3, now g3 is looking like pretty good, right? Is knight a5 an inaccuracy? Well, it certainly wasn't a natural move, you know? And one of the things about g3 is maybe you put him on tilt. There's a variety of moves that black could have done here, but eventually white is going to say, I'm intending b4 to shut your knight out. Also, even bishop d2 shutting your knight out. Though he could have, of course, played bishop d2 instead of g3, the famous g3. I want to say knight a5 was definitely my first instinct. Rook c6 was my first instinct, but this made sense to me. So, queen c2. Bishop d2. Simple and nice. Rook fb1. Genius move. And now black needs to find play. And rook c6. There's nothing wrong with rook c6. So I doubt it's an inaccuracy. It's just when I described the pain that black's feeling, it's mostly psychological there on the king's side. So for example, rook c6, let's do this one. Maybe h4, rook fc8, and now we can do the weenie knight e1, or I was going to say rook b2, but actually rook b2 is an example of a mistake because of knight c4. And knight e1 is, of course, not the move you necessarily wanted to do. Now, is rook c2 a threat? Probably not. Probably not. It might not do anything down there. And if rook c2, there's also knight e1 as like a default, though it's not at all clear what rook c2 even does, besides being a proud move. Okay, a6 happened, and now king g2. Look at that. Look at that, man. Magnus, dude, he's just like, I improve position of g3, king g2. I can't do a Norwegian accent, I'm sorry. So everything kind of reverts to my Russian mafia / superego / Yermolinsky. Okay, now the knight goes back. And you ask yourself, what is black doing? Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. He is saying, Magnus, if you play b4 now, I'm going to play queen b5 and claim that I'm totally fine. It's very clever, but also very thematic. Actually, it's funny, in the last game, of course, I've seen a lot of e4, e5 positions. And some of the moves they made there were just anti-intuitive to me. This kind of thing, I feel like I'm just well-versed, dude. I know exactly what's happening. And I know black should have enough play. And that there was more than one. And there's usually more than one plan to do it. So one of the things about this queen b5 move, though, is, especially if you're playing Magnus, are you worried you're going to get rolled in some kind of endgame? Rook e1. Now that's a dark move, man. Back in the day, people would talk about this as a Nimzovician move. But I think there's other intentions, and one of them might be queen b1. So the dance is simply, can we stop black's counterplay on the queen side? And the moves that Magnus is getting, he's just slowly building his engine over there on the king side. So for Magnus, I assume the endgame is playable. However, if you play rook e1, your intention isn't to go in the endgame. I mean, let's just say queen b5, a b5. Black's just fine. Black's just fine. I guess queen b1 is the intention, dude. No. What if something else happened? No, I'm still... No, I guess there's a time delay on the video feed. So I'm thinking queen b1, man. It's a bold move. Queen b1, nice. Nice. I'm just going to admire Magnus's play for a second here. Now, again, I think black is totally fine. But what he is doing is he is preventing counterplay by black. Knight c6, and black has played a6 so that he's got this queen b5 in reserve before you even play knight c6. You cannot play a4 because of knight b4. If you play b4, I'm still playing queen b5, right? So now this happens. Rook e1, so that it does two things, by the way. Three things. Controls e2, releases the b1 square for the queen, and e2 is important because you don't want to even think about queen e2 stuff. And it does the mysterious rook move thing of making f6 difficult because the e6 square. So amazing. Queen b1, queen c7, and then the engine starts, h4. Oh, buddy. Dang. And I just want to say, I've played a lot of French games, and it is hard. It is harder for white to do this than for black, because black just needs to create some junk. Like here he comes, rook fc8. He's just creating some junk, and he's got more than one way to create the junk, and white is the one who has to consolidate the queen side and make sure that the attack doesn't stall, right? So for example, the knight on c6, typical French nonsense, hitting d4 so that knight g5, we can just go bishop g5 and knight d4. So simple question here, what does Magnus do? And if he could achieve both a4 and b4, he wants to do it. I don't think he can do it, though, right now. Let's go ahead and say no. And one interesting question is like, A, how does white improve the position? Magnus, I think Magnus should spend a little time here. He doesn't. He plays rook a2. I was gonna say rook a2. I'm gonna give myself some pre-props on that one. Pre-props. So rook a2, we prevent this. We control the c2 square. Maybe we get a little something something over there on the second. And one idea that black's gonna have to worry about at some point is bishop g5. Oh yeah, this is spicy. Now, several plans for black. a5, a4 is definitely a move. Okay? a5, a4 is definitely a move. Especially in this kind of time control. a5, I called it. Okay. Yeah, fluff about it. Typical French nonsense. I feel it's funny. Just because this is something I'm a little bit more familiar with. It's remarkable to me how much more intuitive this position is to me than the first game. And when I say that, I mean like white's moves here. I've played against people who've done this kind of stuff, this high wire act that Magnus is doing. And it's very impressive to pull it off, but it was also very difficult for white to pull it off because there's all these squares that you've got to control, and black's moves are fundamentally simpler to make. Like a4, I'm just going to carve out the c4 square. So here's a basic question. What does white do, man? That's your basic question of the day. So just to put it out there, one basic idea is for black to play a4 and if b4 to play knight a7, move the queen, bring the knight to b5. That kind of nonsense. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, we could say he's cramped. Basically, you know, black's side of the board in these positions is the queen side and black's is the king side. So is he cramped over there? Well, he's got less space. Sure. Well, Nickel Maney, he's let me just say, in terms of what the books tell you to do against the French, the general like sense, which is mostly oftentimes correct, is consolidate your d4 pawn and the attack against the queen side, and then tell black that there's an engine on the king side that is growing and that is brutal. And so white has several ideas to improve the position. Bishop g5 to trade the dark square bishop, knight g5, can't do it yet because of knight d4, and of course doing Harry the h-pawn with h5. Harry the h-pawn is a little abstract because even if you achieve h6, the position still isn't open. But yeah, I really admire the rook e1, queen b1, even if it's true that black is still totally okay. It was a very nice dance to keep black's position in check. Rook h1, there we go, my friends. Okay. So I predicted it. I don't know if it's any good, but I did predict it. Okay, so black has to ask himself, how worried am I about knight g5? Let's say for a moment I'm not, okay? And I go a4. And yeah, let's say I'm not worried. Knight g5 for kicks. Bishop takes, pawn takes, g6. Are you really mating me? Nota bene, knight takes d4. It's coming. And if you like magically landed a queen on h4, I would still get to play f5 with the lateral protection. This is why it's easier to play black. This is so much easier to play black, man. People talk smack about the French, but there's just a couple basic ideas. You put your you play on the queen side, put your junk on the c file. Come on. Here we go, a4. And I'm expecting a4. We still got rook h1 on the board. Why is the French so hated? Oh, dude, French is despised. I was talking to KGB, and he was like, dude, I don't know why you do that to yourself. To be fair, this wasn't officially a French. This is a French structure. And in this particular French, Duda did not have the bad CA bishop. So the whole time, like, I would say, like a lot of Carlsen's games is white. Black comes out of the opening fine, no problems. It's not a theoretical position in the sense that it's something he's got to worry about. But then it's Magnus who's like, bro, let me teach you how to play chess. And yeah. All right, so if he doesn't play a4, it would be maybe some move like h6. h6, though, it's very scary because then you got to worry about g4, g5. On a4, what else do you need to worry about? I'm not entirely certain. Maybe b, I don't know, man. I mean, a4, just do it, boss. Do it. All right, so I'm going to put it back here. I'm going to make a little arrow. I'm like, dude. I love calling him dude. I like calling everybody dude, but when you got somebody named Duda, you got to like being called dude. A4, man. Intuitive. I mean, go. Go. Okay, let's be a little bit more concrete because he is worrying about it. So a4, b4. Now, one slightly pleasant thing for black is knight a7, for white I mean, is knight a7 would be the typical move intending some kind of queen move and then knight b5, right? The problem is then knight g5 looks a lot scarier. A lot scarier. Like snip, snop, g6, and again, we got to ask, how is white getting over there? And the obvious answer is, hey, bro, just play here. You know, it's still, honestly, these positions are still freaky deaky. Like, can black play queen d3, for example? I'm not sure. You know, queen d3, queen h2, check to the miserable king. And if you don't mate me, when I say me, I mean black. If you don't mate me, the game's over. Black's winning, you know? Okay, a4 happened. I called it. b4 happened. And presumably, when Duda was thinking about a4, because I thought that was forced, or the only idea, he was now thinking like, okay, what's next? You know, what do I do after b4? And again, knight a7 takes nuts because you are allowing knight g5. Another plan could be queen c4 with the intention that if rook c2, I have queen b3. And again, the reason you would do queen c4 is A, to create a threat, and then if he defends, then knight a7. So knight a7 is one idea, but let's look at this one just because it's very concrete. And this seems fine for black, dude. This seems fine. Oh, he broke down and played h6. Oh. Now, this does not mean you're lost, but I have a funny story to tell you about h6. Nordovich, hey, buddy. Here's my funny story. Okay, So I was analyzing with the Panda, aka Josh Fidel, a little while ago. We were talking about, maybe a year ago, we were talking about these positions kind of like this. Pawn on e5, and white starts an attack. And the old school thought would be, no, bro, you don't want to play, unless you really got it, you don't want to play h6 because that's your weak side and you're creating a weakness. Very standard, thought. Okay, so Panda then was like, dude, let me tell you, I looked at these positions and it's actually very difficult for white to get anything done. Well, then fast forward to the Shanklin game. Shanklin against Karyakin, or rather Karyakin had white in the must-win situation. And it was a king's Indian attack, pawn was on e5, and lo and behold, we saw Shanklin play h6, and I was like, oh, buddy. And did he get hurt? You bet he got hurt. He got spanked. He got spanked. Woo, man. Though, to be fair, h6 wasn't the real cause of his demise. But it was the kind of structure I was like, really, boss, you really want to do it. All right, here we go. h6 was played, bishop e3. And now the thematic knight a7. Okay. Again, black has a very simple plan. He wants to play something like queen c4 followed by knight b5. And again, the whole dance is, can white hold off the attack, the counterplay, long enough to get his own business started? And the move he's certainly looking at is g4 here. Yeah, g4 with a very simple thought, g4, g5. That looks powerful. I'm not a fan of h6. I am not a fan of h6, my friends. Now, obviously, maybe this kid has some notions in his potions. And maybe it's something like g4, rook c3, g5, rook b3. Maybe something like that. Or, very simple, rook c3, g4, queen d3. Thank you very much. That might be more what Magnus is concerned about right now. So again, it's always counterplay on the queen side, diverting from the business on the king side. Now, here we got some nasty. h6, bishop e3, knight a7, bishop d2. Oh no, Magnus, a sign that things have gone wrong. So, this kinds of stuff can happen in a rapid game where you change your mind. Does Duda have something better than knight c6? You'd expect he does. You'd expect he does, right? Now let's just go back a half a second after h6. We're going to say that bishop e3, not the proudest moment. And could Magnus have played g4 right now? That looks better, man. To me, if I'm black, I'm scared to death, dude. To death. The threat is g5, and if h5, we pop you open. That looks great, Magnus. What have you done, man? What have you done, Magnus? All right, so here we go. Bishop e3, knight a7, sad move. And now black plays queen e2. Really? Getting frisky. That might be a great move, my friends. Maybe. Yes. Yes. Great move. Great move. Is it a great move? Actually, I think so. It's at least clever. So the intention, my friends, is if bishop h6, we got rook c2, and it's black who's calling the shots. Even this position, I'm not 100% on. but it's got to be good for black, because black's the one now who's doing the business. Right? So even this. Now, he might have had something better, but this is unpleasant. So, queen e2, rook e1. Magnus says, what do you got, buddy? I'll tell you what Magnus has. Magnus has a time advantage. And let's go back to this position. The claim for black could be that queen c4 after rook e1 is something something. Not totally clear. But that's the claim. The queen c4 is something something. All right, there it is. Queen c4. Like I said, I'd rather be black here. The h6 thing freaks me out. I'm not a fan of h6, but, you know, the counterplay is still the counterplay. And I think bishop d2, bishop e3, I moved 27 was a mistake. Oh, getting that sound. I love that. Michiko, thank you for subbing. Michikov. Oh, we have a Michiko here at the dojo too. Oh, darn it. I just realized something. Ooh, I might have blown it. I might have blown it. I might have blown it. Did I blow it? Oh, oh, that's okay. Guys, I got a couch coming. I got a couch. I'll be right back. Hey, are you outside right now? Okay, I'm coming down. Whew, all right, what's going on? I'm getting a couch. What happened in the game? Rook e3. Maybe Magnus is still holding it. Rook d3, that's a nasty move. Rook b2, that's a nasty move. Wow, bishop d8, beautiful chess. Let me just say, like, this kind of dance that Magnus is doing to control the queenside counterplay, he might be making it look easy, but it is very difficult, and it's the kind of thing where a disaster could definitely happen. A disaster for white, you know. Now, obviously, Magnus is on another level, and we all know it, but still. And those pieces are all tied up, and black's play is simple. As long as you just got to make sure your queen's not getting trapped. and then you're fine. Black has achieved it, man. Think about it. He achieved that whole knight maneuver at really hardly any cost of time. The rook on d3 is in the way of the queen. The rook on d3 can imagine swinging over, but it's kind of hard to imagine just how that would go down. And black is just going to say, hey, buddy, I might put my bishop on b6 and ask you some basic questions. You know? Yeah, though everybody like it. Is that a ficus plant? No, it's this thing called a rubber plant. When you're a dude like me, you kill plants. So I'm trying to get plants I don't kill. So that's called a rubber plant, which maybe is also a ficus plant. But it's to my mind, it's the plant that Jesse can't kill so far. I might still kill it, you know? I'm pretty good at killing plants. I've never actually not killed a plant. I kill them every time. Battle League. All right, I got to make sure these guys are okay. All right, what happened? Nothing. Magnus is tanking. I once killed a cactus that would have survived in the Sahara. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Oh man, one time I was like really pumped. I was like, dude, I'm gonna make a plant live, and I got myself a bromeliad, dude. That thing died instantly. That thing died instantly. It was supposed to not actually be a plant you could kill that easily. I killed that thing, dude. And I never knew why. If it was like, I think I watered it too much. And maybe that's how the cactus died too, man. Those plants are really tricky. You think you get anxious and you're like, dude, I'm going to kill the plant. So then you water it and then you end up killing it, man. It's really hard. Magnus is a little grief here, dude. Magnus is definitely in some grief. And long hail the French, buddy. Holy moly. Holy moly. Look at these pieces. G4. So it finally happens. And this is likely a little bit too late. It will cause black to at least think a little bit, though. And when you play bishop b6, you obviously take the bishop's scope away from the king's side. If you don't play bishop b6, it's unclear exactly what you're going to do. So, and from White's perspective, his pieces are so tied up that the only thing he can do is g4, g5. The pieces look real nasty, though. It's got to be said, right? But let's do a simple variation. Bishop b6, g5, h5, g6, fg. You know? And then you ask yourself, can White get at him? We assume the answer is yes, just because it's Magnus, but I'm not sure. Could be that, but just like a simple move like rook e3, and then it is scary. But I believe in black there, man. Definitely. All right, things have happened. Bishop b6, and Magnus plays bishop e3. And then we got to say, knight c3, isn't that like really... I mean, knight c3 is a big advantage for black. He's going to imagine if he has something better. But that's a big advantage for black. And so, oh, dude, this is game over for Magnus if he loses this. Knight c3 happens. Dude, the dude might be taking Magnus down. I guess we're gonna say Queen F1 is forced. This has gone nasty. Or Rook takes C3. Or you sack the exchange. Maybe that's what's gonna happen. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. However, would you rather play Queen F1 or Rook takes C3? With Rook takes C3, at least you got some hopes, right? Kind of, sort of, a little bit. I don't know. I don't know actually if you have any hopes. Imagine Rook C3, Queen C3, G5, H5, G6, FG. On FG, do you really think you can play Queen G6? Well, you better make sure, buddy, because Queen takes B2, Knight G5. It better be at least perpetual check over there, and I'm not sure it is. All right, Queen F1 was played. Ooh, oh, this is getting ugly. Oh, my friends. Now, Knight E4 would be the intuitive move. Let's put it there. Man, like I said, these positions, they can get nasty really fast for white. And let me just say with Queen F1, now all that hope on the long diagonal, the B1 H7 diagonal, that's gone for now. And now dude is thinking, do I have something more special than Knight E4? And, you know, maybe you make the argument that Knight E4 isn't so, that Knight E4 is just a good-looking knight. Maybe that's what you say. All right, Queen B5 happens. Do I understand it? I'm not sure I do. Now, it does get out of the way of Knight D2. That's true. But beyond that, can someone tell me what the idea is? A quick personal chess question. You can, buddy, but you could also wait until this thing is over because we're in the heat of the battle. And I'm wondering, how about this? I got a quick personal chess question for you, Lauren. What's the idea behind Queen B5? Now, arguably, he's better no matter what he does. But I still want to know, does he have a threat? Feels like he has a threat, and I don't even know what it is. If he doesn't have a threat, Magnus should play H5. What does he do? Magnus plays Rook C2. Okay, I think I understand Queen B5, by the way. The point of Queen B5 is to play Knight E4 and then Rook C2. Okay? So Rook C2 happens, Knight E4 happens, and this is the dream. This is the dream. By trading the rook off, we're going to gain more penetration squares into white's camp. I don't know, Magnus. It's looking bad, buddy. Magnus is a defensive genius, though, my friends. This is looking god-awful. I didn't like Rook C2. Not that I had a great advice about what to do instead. Now, in that position, Queen takes C6 was also a good move. Rook D1. Okay, so it's a funny position, man. Against mortals, I would say black is just much better. But against Magnus, I'm like, maybe he can survive this thing. I did like Queen takes C6 better than this. Right. If he holds it, let's just say some obvious stuff. If he does hold the D4 point, then, you know, the end games will all be at least okay. And the bishop on B6 is ultimately, you know, cut out. So black plays Rook C4. Can I just say, wouldn't it have been more clever to do this? And then you could have played Queen C2? Right? Okay, so this happened. Boom, boom. No trade for you, Magnus. Now this position, I'm no longer super certain that this is so pleasant for black. Yeah, I'm not super certain here. This seems to, at the very least, encourage knight takes d2. And now queen c6 happens. Okay. Is black better, and by how much? It might not be that much. And why? Because black hasn't proven that he's done anything special on the queen side yet. So for example, queen d1, rook c3, rook d3. Actually, we better start with rook d3 first. And if rook c2, we're just going to say it's not that special. That's still pretty special. It's still pretty special, dogs. At any point, the g5 could hurt. It could hurt. Okay. So, like, yeah, let me just say on an objective level, maybe white's still holding this, but of course it's still much more pleasant for black. Queen d3, rook c3, I think we're already toast. The rook c3 in general is coming. If rook d3, we got to worry about rook c2. So you might, oh, buddy. Magnus, buddy. Oh, why has white got a better bishop? His pawns are on dark squares. Nordovich is famous in chess dojo land for not understanding bishops, dude. He's actually, if you rank people according to their ability with specific pieces, Nordovich, dude, when you list all the chess dojo players and it comes to bishops, he's the worst, dude. He's the worst. Oh, man, don't ever let Nordovich touch your bishops. Don't let him touch your bishops, man. No bishops for Nordovich. Okay, something happened. Queen e2. Now, we're anticipating rook c3, but rook c1 might also make some sense. Rook c3 is just like your basic default move. And nota bene, rook c3, rook d3, queen c4 is a hassle in the castle. Magnus has got 0 time left. By the way, I think he's got to have more than 23 seconds because you get 30 seconds to move, boss. I think, or maybe you only get 15. Maybe you only get 15. All right, rook c3 happens. This is very unpleasant. Rook a2. Oh, he's assuming the position. He's assumed the position, my friends. Now, queen c4 would be your default move, but you might have something better. Magnus is just going to claim that he can hold on to this. I don't know, man. I don't know. Queen c4 looks strong. Yeah, I think they're going to only have 15 seconds. They've made time. Are you sure there's a time control? I don't think there's a time control, right? I think we're just in it to win it right here, man. I don't like bishop d8, Dor. Don't like it. Oh, it's an interesting question. So, like, one path. Oh, this is hard, man. One path of survival for white could be queen c4. Maybe queen d2. No, you can't play chess like that. This rook d3 or something. He's really tanking on queen c4, man. Now, could the dude blow it? Of course the dude could blow it. This is Magnus, dude, and you're playing at 15 seconds increment. The guy makes moves just by his hands. His hands make the move. He doesn't even make them. His hands make those moves. All right, bishop d8 was played. Dora's move. I didn't like bishop d8. I liked queen c4. g5 instantly. I think that's a problem. h5 was also a question mark, but g5, and I think you got to do, well, hg, right? Oh, dude, Daddy didn't like this bishop d8 move. Now, maybe you could say, hey, I'm still playing queen c4, but the only advantage there is you can play b5 afterwards, but I don't think you really needed to play b5. I think, dude, I didn't like this door. Okay, some moves were made, namely hg, as predicted. Queen c4 played. All right, here we go. Now, in the other position, I was thinking black had to take. Is it true that black has to take now? Or white has to take? He does. And both rook takes and pawn takes look to be at least slightly better for black. Notice the advantage of this for black, of getting the pawn to g5, is in the endgame, black will play king h7, g6, and the bishop, the Nordovich bishop on e3 is truly terrible. Now, I'm not sure about this DC move. Rook takes c4 was a much... Oh, well, okay. I was about to talk smack about it. But the point, one of the points is now we cannot play king f3. This is an important point. We cannot play king f3 because of bishop g5. And if white does nothing special, black has king h7. d5 immediately. That's a Magnus move, my friend. Counterplay pronto. Pronto counterplay, my friend. Oh, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. So, beautiful. We're going to guess ED is basically forced. Then rook d2. And then black has to choose between rook a3 and rook d3. They both might be advantages for black, but they're both a little scary. ED, rook d2, unlike that was predicted. Now black has to make his choice. I think he might be winning. I think rook d3, because you know why? The king h7, g6 is going to be a powerful business. Unless it goes like this. Rook d3, rook takes cd, f4, f4, so you meet king h7 with f5. Let's see what happened, my friends. Boom, boom, boom. I called f4. Thank you very much. Thank you for playing, my friends. King f8. All right, here we go. Now, I think he needs to stop. It's still powerful for black, because black is coming through g6, through e6, excuse me. Can always play g6. All right, king f3 happened. Let's state the obvious. We're down a pawn. King e7 expected. Check to the miserable king. We're obviously expecting king e6. King e3. Simple question. Why isn't black winning after king f5? That's my simple question of the day. Why aren't we winning after king f5? It looks totally over, dude. It looks over Grover. Maybe bishop d6 will be Magnus's idea. King f5, bishop d6. Oh, Magnus says, I don't care. I would have cared. I care. Hey, man, I care. g6 happened. Oh, Magnus had a trick. Magnus had a trick. Holy moly, he had a trick. If king f4, g6 was Magnus's intention. That was evil. That was evil, my friends. Okay, here we go. I'm imagining bishop e3. And black is still much better? I don't know. Oh, Magnus, you got to draw this game, boss. You got to draw this game, boss. Ooh, buddy. He's tanking. He's tanking. Bishop. He's debating whether you play bishop d6 or bishop e3. Oh, Magnus. Oh, Magnus. Play it, buddy. Don't. He's not going to lose on time. Magnus doesn't lose on time. All right, stuff happened. Bishop e3, bishop c7. Bishop c7, does that make a lot of sense to me? No. b5, bishop d8. The drama with b5 was, of course, that now he can play bishop e7. Magnus says, I don't care. Black's still better after bishop e7, no doubt. Well, wait a second. Bishop e7, bishop c1. Wait, and there's also bishop b6, and he's not afraid. He should be. He probably should be afraid of bishop b6, my friends. Doesn't win. The nice thing is, he says, I don't have to decide right away. Now, is that pawn endgame winning? Man, it's exciting, man. This is nail biter. This is it's coming down to the nail biter. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Bishop e7, bishop c1, king e6. Beautiful play by black. Work him before you go back. Yep. Is black better? Yes, he is. Is it a thing? I don't know. b6, bishop c5 could be an intention, and then come back. Yeah, b6 for black is the thing we have to worry about as white. Bishop b2. And now b6 looks evil to me. Bishop d8. King c5. I don't know if that was a good thing to allow king c5. I don't know about that at all. Bishop a5. Bishop c1. Thank you very much. Is black in the kind of zugzwang? Is black in zugzwang? Did he really blow it? Oh, man. Did the dude blow it? The dude is considering b6 right now, I tell you that. b6, king c6, d4. That's what he's thinking about. Oh. Bishop c3. Okay. So now we got a race. King b6, d4. Race is on. King b6, d4. King takes b7, d3. We will lose the bishop, but do we queen in time? Dude is saying no. b6, white plays b6. d4, king c4. Man, it would be hard to play this against Magnus. King d7. Bishop e3, baby. Bishop e3, baby. Oh, this is so evil. Oh, no. I bet he missed bishop e3. Now, notice there's a threat. If the black king goes after the c-pawn, that was clever by black. If black had gone into pawn endgame, f5 at the end with the king on b6 would have been the drama. Oh, baby. Now, don't we have to say that Magnus can't lose anymore after king b5? Magnus says, I'm not even going to give you, there's no bishop c1s in your future, buddy. Now, that being said, isn't bishop b2 is the question. Are we happy that we allowed bishop b2? I'm not sure I'm happy to allow bishop b2. I'm not sure at all. Magnus says he's not worried. I'd be worried. I'd be sweating coconuts because that black king is going to go marching. And Magnus says it doesn't matter. I'd be terrified of that black king marching all over my business. King a2. Magnus is just saying, I got this fortress, baby. Oh, buddy. Magnus endgames. Yeah, welcome to it, my friends. Welcome to it. Nepo, are you watching this, clown? Hey, clown face, you watching this, buddy? You think you're going to take this down? No. Look at this. Even when things go wrong for Magnus, so hard to beat the guy. So hard to beat him. King e4, bishop d2. Bishop f2. This dude he's still saying he's winning, and he might be winning. He might be winning this. Ah, no. This looks awful actually for Magnus. Dang. Oh, bishop f2, very nice move, man. Oh, Magnus. Oh, Magnus, buddy. Oh, Magnus. The clocks aren't moving, which sometimes means they made a draw. But to me, this looks lost for my peasant mind. For my peasant mind, this position looks lost. Now, maybe the transmission, Magnus resigned. Oh, man, I'm looking at the feed here. Oh, he resigned, dude. Oh. Dude, so the dude advances? And that kind of seals the deal then. So the dude gets to play in the candidates tournament and Karyakin plays. And their little match means nothing because it's just the top two spots. Ooh, man. And I'm telling you guys, man, that was the French structure deal. It was much easier for black to play, man. Ooh, and there were some nice tricks that Magnus pulled out in the endgame. And I thought, let's go back to this bishop e3 moment. Wait, not that one. There's a different bishop e3 moment that I wanted. Bishop e3 here. I was like, here maybe he's got a shot. So bishop b2, bishop d4, bishop a3. And the problem is just your pawns are all in the wrong color, man. So if king b5, bishop c1, king a4, bishop f4, and you're gonna lose all of them, honestly. You're gonna lose all of them. Woo! And you know, in hindsight, hey, Nordovich, buddy, do you like your bishop? Nordovich, do you like your good bishop, the one you're calling the good bishop? I have never seen someone fail at bishops stronger than Nordovich has failed. The man, he's just complete bishop fail, man. We need to give a whole seminar for Nordovich, dude. Even then, I don't think it could be helped. I don't think there's anything you can do for him. The other move that maybe we should acclaim here is way back when the dude played Door's move. And I laughed at Dora. I was like, that isn't a good move, buddy. Where are we? Can we go back a second? It's way back when. Way back when. Oh, man. Where's my way back? I got to go in the way back machine. Take c6. Okay, so here was the position. Black is definitely better. The pleb move here was queen c4. Instead, black plays bishop d8. Now, I just got to say, my response to this, intuitively, would have been to play h5, to put the pawns on the correct color. There might be some reason that Magnus felt like, hey, I can't do that. That's the thing. Maybe we got to talk to Magnus about that, dude. Magnus, buddy, why didn't you put the pawn on the right color? Didn't you watch my endgame video, dude? Capablanca's rule? Just go watch that, bud. It'll put a lot of things might become clear to you. But if it's true that there's some reason that h5 is wrong, which let's just give Magnus the benefit of the doubt, then bishop d8 looks like a great move because now the pawns are on Nordovich squares and the king's going to go walking all over him, man. Whew, man. All right, my friends. I think I'm going to end it. That was great. Am I interested in covering Duda Karyakin? Not as much. Not as much. because that's just for a little cash. I think my understanding is both those guys are going to qualify, so it's kind of just like a friendly match at the end, I think. But then, yeah, here's a good. Let's look at some dates, dude. Let's look at some dates over here. I want to know, when is the candidates match, the candidates tournament, and when is the World Championship? We're going to assume the World Championship is first. The World Chess Championship. All right, November 24th through Thursday, December 16th. We're definitely going to do some championship hangout parties. And Dubai. We're going to be in Dubai, which I'm going to assume is going to be like, for us, it's going to be a similar thing where I'm going to have to cover it. Kostya's going to be, it's too early for Kostya, dude. That guy, he needs his avocado toast and his rest. Too early for him. So that'll be going on. And then, what else do I want to know? I want to know, let's just write it down, right? So we got November 24th, Thanksgiving weekend. I'm going to be playing, I'm hopefully going to be playing a tournament then. There's several nice tournaments that weekend, because chess players like to skip Thanksgiving. Will I be able to get away from Thanksgiving? I don't know. But it's a good thing about your wife leaving you is then you're just like, you do Thanksgiving. I'm going to go play a tournament. There's one in Philly. There's one in Charlotte. And there's a couple other ones too. The one in Charlotte I'm most interested in. It would be very strong and it would be intense, dude. Okay, next question, Cry. We want to know, when is the... God, I don't even know how to phrase it. It would be, when is the next chess candidates match? Candidates tournament. They still got to do all the other candidates tournament. Oh my God, does this make sense? April 2021 is what I'm seeing. March and April 2021. Let's see what we got here. Oh, no. This is the Wikipedia for the 20 to 21 one. I want... It's kind of a... Wait a second. This is saying... I'm trying very deeply to find answers to my questions. All right, let's just scroll down here a little bit, buddy. Right, okay, so that's the 2021. And boss, when do we get to see? I don't know, man. Maybe, does anybody else have the answer to this question? Spaglodi says dates aren't announced. Okay, fair enough. In any case, I guess it would probably be something like, I don't even know, because they pushed this back. So would there, for example, be another World Championship match the end of next year? Like they would, since we missed a year? I don't know, man. But anyways, Duda and Karyakin will be in there. Kind of very interesting chance for Duda, because Duda's like, top 30 in the world. And now he gets a shot at being a genius. And now that he beat Carlsen, actually, let's go look at his new rating. And the bummer is Carlsen did so well in this tournament, and I bet with that loss, he only gained 2 points from that entire thing. And the Duda is up to 16th in the world now, gained 12 points. Yeah, so this is his big shot at gold here, man. And Karyakin's up to number 10 in the world. Yeah, so big questions of who's going to qualify. So definitely we know it'll be definitely Nepo, because he's going to lose. And then it'll be Karyakin and Duda. So those are the three for sure. And then probably by raiding Ding and Caruana. And then there's all those other things, the Grand Prix stuff, which I don't think has been done yet. As far as I know, that's totally up in the open. All right, my friends, who do I raid? Tell me who to raid. Radjabov will also be there. Raiding is not a qualifier. Oh my gosh, dude. I think raiding has to be a qualifier. Man, you put the Russians in charge, dude. And then they're going to do some Russian qualifiee. They're just going to be like, oh, we got some Russian kid we'd like. We'll put him in there, man. All right. Who did I raid last time? I raided a weird dude. How about GM Nixons? How about that? Raid. Actually, I raided him before. Let's do LaFont. I gotta space out my raids here, buddy. Raid LaFont. My friends, if you have not followed us, give us a follow. If you have not subscribed, give us a subscribe. I'll be back a little bit later. When? I don't know. By the way, August 13th, we got the Chess Punks Awards. Check out, we got some sub battles coming up. And I'm going to make some vids I'm going to pump out later this week. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.